In my dorm room at Crestview University, I checked my outfit in the mirror, finishing up getting dressed. As I adjusted my collar, a familiar thought drifted through my mind. What kind of trouble will that little mischievous devil cause today? It was Sunday. My room had 6 metal frame beds, but I was the only one in it. My roommates were out enjoying their weekend. Me? I was getting ready to head out for my tutoring job, trying to earn enough to cover my living expenses. Suddenly, a voice, deep and resonant, boomed in my mind, cutting through the silence of the room. It felt like it was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once, directly into my consciousness. You mortals, you ants. I am God. Your quiet, peaceful lives sicken me. From this moment, you are all thrust into the Genesis protocol. Struggle. Fight with every fiber of your being, grow stronger, and in doing so, you will entertain me. Only through constant evolution will you survive. Fail, and you will perish. The countdown begins now. 5. The strange voice had appeared directly in my mind. My eyes felt frozen, and time itself seemed to seize up around me. Everything slowed to a crawl, almost stopping completely. Only that voice continued to echo, crisp and clear. 1. The game officially begins. All you ants, struggle to survive. With the last word, the bizarre state I was in shattered. Time snapped back to normal, and I could move again. What the hell was that? I mumbled, my voice feeling strangely hoarse. My mind reeled with astonishment. Then I noticed it, a meter-long wooden stick, a novice cudgel, now clutched in my hand. It hadn't been there a second ago. This wasn't some hallucination. What I'd heard was real. A system notification appeared in my vision. Novice cudgel. New equipment. Novice level weapon. Attack, 0 to 5. Durability, 100/100. Please make good use of this weapon to survive. Then another popped up. Marcus Cole, male. Level 1. Occupation, none. Title, none. Strength, 9 base, 10. Agility, 10 base, 10. Vitality, 9 base, 10. Stamina, 8 out of 8, base, 10. Spirit, 12 base, 10. Endurance, 10 base, 10. My mind was utterly amazed. This strange information, these stats, had just flowed directly into my head, like I was in some kind of video game. Clutching the novice cudgel, a profound sense of foreboding settled in my gut. I rushed to the dorm room door, fumbling with the lock, jamming the deadbolt home. Then, acting on instinct, I yanked open one of my roommate's closets and grabbed his binoculars. The building directly opposite mine was the girls' dorm. Plenty of guys on our floor had binoculars, mostly for less than honorable reasons. With the novice cudgel tight in one hand, I moved cautiously towards the window, peering outside. It was probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Most students who weren't out enjoying their Sunday were probably sleeping off a late night, so the campus looked mostly deserted. Then, a shrill scream tore through the relative quiet. Save me. I snapped my head towards the sound, down on the street below. What I saw made my blood run cold. A girl in a white t-shirt was surrounded by 8 others. They were tearing at her, savagely biting and gnawing. Fresh blood soaked her clothes as she thrashed and screamed, but there was no escape. What the hell is happening? I whispered, my stomach churning. That horrifying scene in the distance churned my insides like a storm. I immediately raised the binoculars to my eyes, desperate for a clearer view. Through the lenses, the situation became sickeningly clear. The 8 attackers had vacant, dead eyes. They were like rabid animals, tearing at the girl's body, ripping off chunks of flesh and swallowing them. My gorge rose. The gruesome scene made me gag, a wave of primal fear washing over me. Despite the terror seizing my heart, I forced myself to observe, to process what I was seeing. The 8 girls continued to bite and tear at the white t-shirt girl's already tattered body, until it was a mangled mess of flesh wounds and missing chunks. Finally, they stopped. They spread out, stumbling aimlessly, their movements slow and shambling, far less agile than an average person. But they moved in a pack. If you were surrounded by them, survival seemed impossible. I watched the slow, shambling figures, a chilling thought forming in my mind. Is this Resident Evil? Their eyes were milky white, and their mouths were still smeared with human blood, making them absolutely terrifying. The realization hit me like a physical blow. They were acting exactly like the zombies from those horror games and movies. My horrifying conjecture was confirmed moments later. The white t-shirt girl, now lifeless and bitten beyond recognition, slowly, agonizingly, picked herself up off the pavement. Her eyes were milky white, just like her attackers, and she began to stagger aimlessly down the street. Oh God, zombies. I choked out, my voice barely a whisper. A cold dread settled deep inside me. If the entire campus was infested with these things, survival would be a miracle. Suddenly, a series of frantic, loud thumps erupted from my door. Danger! Zombies! A new system alert flashed in my mind, far more urgent than the previous ones. Shaking on the inside, I immediately scrambled, shoving my wooden computer desk against the door, trying to barricade it. With a splintering crack, the thin wooden door shattered. Two clawed hands, pale and sickly, punched straight through the wood. So much power, I gasped, backing away quickly. Crestview University dorm doors were flimsy, cheap wood, but no ordinary person could just punch through them like that. The strength of these things was far beyond anything I could have imagined. The two claws thrashed violently, tearing at the splintered wood, as the entire door rattled under a relentless push from the other side. My eyes darted around, gritting my teeth. I forced myself to overcome the paralyzing fear. I gripped my novice cudgel tighter and stepped towards the door, swinging down hard at the two thrashing limbs. I swung again and again, more than 10 times, until finally, with a sickening crunch, I managed to hack off the ends of the zombie's claws. The mangled arms pulled back with a wet squelch. The moment the arms retracted, a massive crash followed. The flimsy wooden door exploded inward, and a head, short-haired, with a gaping hole in its temple and milky white eyes, burst through the opening. It was a student, snarling and straining towards me. I recognized him instantly. Brendan Shaw, member of the school soccer team, a classmate who lived right next door. We'd chatted just 20 minutes ago. Now, his head was halfway through my door, a snarling, undead monster. "I'm sorry," I whispered, my voice raw, "but I want to live." My eyes flashed with a complex mix of grief and resolve. Gritting my teeth, I hefted the novice cudgel above my head and brought it down with every ounce of my strength. The full force of my blow connected. Brendan Shaw's zombie head twisted violently, a sickening crunch echoing in the small room. It tilted unnaturally to the side. Almost simultaneously, a small black book and a black coin, a survival mark, ejected from Brendan Shaw's body, clattering to the floor within my reach. And then, a faint white light, invisible to human eyes, flared from his corpse and flowed into me. I felt a subtle surge of energy, like a tiny jolt of electricity. Sharp-eyed, I moved forward, snatching up the little black book and the survival mark. Then I quickly retreated a few steps, putting distance between me and the twitching corpse. A notification blazed in my vision as I touched the book. Level 3 skill book, Summon Cadaveric Sentinel. Description: consumes 10 MP, summons a cadaveric sentinel from the necrosphere to fight for you. Cadaveric Sentinel's initial level is 1, with 6 initial properties: Strength 10, Agility 10, Vitality 10, Stamina 10, Spirit 10, Endurance 180. Cooldown 10 days. Would you like to learn this skill? A strange rush of information, the skill itself, flowed into my mind the moment I picked up the book. I didn't hesitate. Learn immediately. I willed, the thought firm. Another prompt appeared. Warning: before reaching level 30, you can only learn 3 active skills. Are you sure you want to learn the skill Summon Cadaveric Sentinel? Yes, I confirmed without a second thought. Hesitation was a luxury I couldn't afford. My only concern was survival. Worrying about future skill slots when I might not even have a future was pointless. Right now, any boost in strength was vital. Those zombies had immense strength, easily smashing through the door. Hiding in the dorm wasn't safe. I needed power, desperately, if I wanted to live. Everything else could wait. At that very instant, the level 3 skill book, Summon Cadaveric Sentinel, dissolved into a wisp of black light, which flowed directly into my forehead, a faint tingle between my eyebrows. I felt an immediate shift in my consciousness, a new piece of knowledge, like a strange rune, now etched into my mind. Then, a new system prompt. Summon Cadaveric Sentinel? You need to consume 10 MP. Yes, I affirmed, making up my mind instantly. I activated Summon Cadaveric Sentinel. The next moment, a string of guttural, mysterious incantations, ancient and raw, erupted from my mouth without my conscious will. The air in my room shimmered, warping, and then a gaping void tore open, revealing a giant, shadowy cave. It felt like a portal directly into the necrosphere, reeking of endless death and decay. A slight pain flared in my head as a mysterious force surged through me, leaving me momentarily dizzy. Then, a skeleton, nothing but bones, stepped slowly out of the void. It was wreathed in black mist and 2 points of malevolent, magical flame glowed in its eye sockets. This strange, human-like skeleton, pulled from the depths of the necrosphere, immediately gave me a profound sense of connection, like a part of me. A system window popped up, detailing its stats. Cadaveric Sentinel. Level 1. Strength, 10 base, 10. Agility, 10 base, 10. Vitality, 10 base, 10. Stamina, 10 out of 10, base, 10. Spirit, 10, base, 10. Endurance, 5, base, 10. Skills, Bone Mastery. The Cadaveric Sentinel turned its flaming eyes to me for a moment. Then, as if receiving an unspoken command, it shambled over to Brendan Shaw's corpse. With surprising speed, it plunged its bony arms into the zombie's remains. A flash of black light consumed the room, lingering for a solid 30 seconds. When it faded, Skullgrim, my newly summoned Cadaveric Sentinel, moved. It reached down, its bony hand closing around a long, crude bone axe that had been clutched in Brendan Shaw's rotting grasp. The weapon, roughly 4 feet long, seemed to hum with a dark energy as Skullgrim gripped it. As the bone axe was pulled free, Brendan's remains liquefied, collapsing into a sickening puddle of putrid black pus and blood on the floor. The stench hit me, thick and acrid, but I forced myself to focus. "Cut the table," I commanded, pointing to the cheap particle board computer desk next to me. Skullgrim didn't hesitate. It brought the bone axe down with terrifying force. A loud crack echoed in the small dorm room as the wooden desk cleaved in two with a single strike. Amazing. A surge of grim satisfaction washed over me. With a guardian this powerful, my odds of surviving whatever hell had just broken loose had just skyrocketed. Having tested Skullgrim's destructive power, I turned my attention to the black coin I'd acquired from Brendan's corpse. I picked it up, feeling its cool, smooth surface. A message chimed in my mind. 1 survival mark. I didn't know its worth, or what exactly it was for, but it felt important. I carefully slipped the black coin into my pocket. Just then, a fierce thud rattled the dorm door. A grotesque, clawed hand punched through the flimsy wood, shaking the entire frame. The door groaned under the assault. In a matter of heartbeats, it exploded inward, revealing 4 figures with milky white eyes. They staggered and clawed their way into the room, zombies. A simultaneous crash of glass came from behind me. I spun to see the window shatter, a 5th zombie trying to squeeze its way through the narrow opening, its decaying face contorted in a silent snarl. I glanced at the wrecked dorm door, a wry, humorless smile touching my lips. The university cheaped out on everything, didn't they? Shoddy construction, even for the apocalypse. My voice was tight. Skullgrim, kill the ones that got in. My Cadaveric Sentinel responded instantly. It lunged forward, the bone axe whistling through the air as it struck the lead zombie. The creature's head was split clean in half, sent flying in a spray of foul blood and gray matter. But 3 other zombies were already on Skullgrim, their decaying hands clawing, their teeth tearing. I watched, horrified, as bits of bone were ripped from Skullgrim's frame. Its ethereal health bar, visible to my newly awakened senses, flickered. Its axe-wielding right arm was trapped, held fast by the ravenous horde pressing it back towards the doorway. Skullgrim and the 3 zombies became a struggling, grotesque knot, attempting to force their way through the narrow door frame. I stepped forward, gripping my novice cudgel. With a grunt, I swung, aiming for the head of the zombie pinning Skullgrim's axe arm. The cudgel connected with a sickening crunch, twisting the zombie's head at an unnatural angle. Its grip loosened. A ball of white light detached from the zombie's falling form and swiftly flew into my chest. Skullgrim's right arm was free. The bone axe arced, decapitating the now limp zombie in one swift blow. The remaining zombie, still clinging to Skullgrim, seemed to sense my living presence. It released its hold on my Cadaveric Sentinel and turned, its dead eyes fixing on me. I scrambled over the half-collapsed door, putting some distance between us. Its face was a horror show, a chunk of flesh torn away, its gaping, blood-streaked mouth still twitching. I instinctively took a step back. These things were beyond dangerous. Just a scratch, and you were done for. I really didn't want to get up close and personal unless I absolutely had to. At that moment, the zombie that had been trying to get through the window finally succeeded, tumbling into the room and staggering towards me. From beyond the mangled doorway, 2 more clawed their way in. As if sensing the new threat to me, Skullgrim, still grappling with the corpse on the floor, suddenly extended a bony hand, grabbing the zombie that was advancing on me. The creature stumbled, falling hard. I seized the opportunity, bringing my novice cudgel down on its head, sending its broken body twisting to the side. Another ball of white light shot from the zombie and into my chest. A system prompt chimed in my head. You have advanced to level 2. You have earned 2 points. Please distribute the points. Strength and stamina, I said immediately, the words driven by the sheer exhaustion I felt. Fighting even these few zombies had drained me far more than I'd expected. My stamina, which had started at 8 points, was now down to 3. Each swing of the cudgel, each desperate block, had taken a heavy toll. A warm sensation spread through my body, and I felt a subtle increase in my physical capabilities. My stamina began to slowly recover. Another system message appeared. Congratulations, you survived and destroyed the monsters. The Genesis Protocol will award you a basic skill. Please select a skill. Skill 1, Etheric Sight, can discern the information of creatures up to 5 levels higher. Skill 2, Universal Tongue, allows you to effortlessly master any language. Listening, speaking, and writing are no obstacle. These spells do not occupy one of the 3 active skill slots. Without a second thought, I made my choice. I choose Etheric Sight. A flash of light condensed in my mind, forming a swirling, bronze-colored rune. I focused, channeling the newly acquired Etheric Sight, and looked at the nearest zombie. A new information panel appeared, overlaying my vision. Nascent Contagion Level 1. These beings are eroded by the infection of the virus, leaving only the desire for flesh and blood. Contagion Vector Skill, a single break in the skin from an infected creature is sufficient for transmission. Depending on an individual's constitution, the body will succumb to nascent contagion within 3 to 10 minutes. Without specialized treatment fluids, this infection is considered incurable with current world medical technology and will remain so for at least a decade. Sure enough, I muttered, my apprehension solidifying into genuine fear. These zombies weren't just dangerous, they were walking biological weapons. The 2 remaining zombies in the room lurched towards me. Skullgrim, with a mighty swing of its large axe, cleaved the head off one of them, sending it tumbling. The other lunged at my cadaveric sentinel, its vicious grip tearing another bone from Skullgrim's chest. I seized the opportunity, stepping forward and bringing my cudgel down hard. The zombie's skull caved in. As its body hit the floor, I saw it clearly now, thanks to Etheric Sight, a ball of pure white light detaching from the corpse and flying directly into my body. Could this be what's making me stronger? I stared at the disappearing light, a new question forming in my mind. With no immediate answer, I pushed the thought aside, turning to Skullgrim. I focused my will, a command passing between us. A status window shimmered into view for Skullgrim. Skullgrim, Cadaveric Sentinel, Level 2 Power, 11-10 Agility, 11-10 Vitality, 11-10 Stamina, 9-11-10 Spirit, 11-10 Strength, 6-10 Skills, Bone Mastery. I looked at Skullgrim's stats, and a jolt of excitement ran through me. Skullgrim's growth rate was phenomenal, far exceeding my own. Its attributes had soared by 6 points from just a single level up. Compared to an average person, it was now over 10% stronger across the board. Having such a powerful ally dramatically boosted my chances of survival. Without hesitation, and trying my best to ignore the cloying stench of death, I strong-armed the computer desk, then blankets and pillows, jamming them against the door and window. It wasn't much, but it was something. Even if it couldn't hold them forever, it would buy me some precious time. Level 1 zombies were strong, sure, but they had one glaring weakness, their glacial pace. If you weren't swarmed, a simple long weapon could keep even an average person safe. But 10 zombies meant certain death. Locking the door, I let out a shaky breath, the reek of decay filling my lungs. The last few minutes had been a blur of terror. If I hadn't gained the skill to summon Skullgrim, I'd undoubtedly be one of them right now. Even a single zombie in such a confined space was a nightmare to deal with. 3. I'd be overwhelmed in seconds. After that brief moment of relief, I immediately began ransacking the dorm room for anything useful. I quickly unearthed a bundle of mountain climbing ropes, a mountaineering backpack, 4 packs of instant noodles, and a half-eaten bag of custard pie. In this cramped room, Skullgrim and I, working together, had managed to hold off the initial wave by using the terrain to our advantage. But that was just the immediate threat. This dorm building had 8 floors, 20 rooms per floor, with 12 students crammed into each room. That was a potential 1920 guys. Even though it was Sunday and a lot of people were out, at least 600 were still here. Even if only a third of them turned, that was a terrifying number. Crucially, Dorm rooms weren't stocked with food or water. Beyond the half-liter bottle I had, I didn't dare touch the tap water, unsure if the municipal system itself was compromised. I quickly secured one end of the climbing rope to the sturdy bed frame, then tossed the coiled length out the window. Once it hit the ground, I pulled a chair to the window and sat down, binoculars already in hand, scanning the chaos unfolding below. Skullgrim stood guard beside me, its bony frame a silent, formidable presence. The entire Crestview University campus below was a scene of utter pandemonium. Students streamed out of dorm buildings, only to be met by shambling zombies in their path. Many of them had makeshift bandages on their bodies, faces contorted in pain, clearly already injured, or worse. A kid sprinting across the lawn didn't watch his step. He passed a crumpled body on the asphalt, and then, without warning, the corpse shot out a hand, seizing his ankle. He stumbled, then hit the ground hard. "Brendan Flynn, save me," he shrieked, his voice raw with terror. Brendan Flynn glanced back, saw the horde of undead closing in on his friend, and his face twisted into a mask of pure fear. He turned and bolted, not even a backward glance. "Brendan Flynn, Ethan Reed, help, save me," the boy screamed, his pleas echoing across the quad. Ethan Reed, tall even from this distance, flinched at the desperate cries. He hesitated, then risked a quick look back. 8 zombies were already tearing into the fallen student, a frenzied pile of gnawing flesh. All he could hear now were the muffled, gurgling screams. That sight was enough. Ethan Reed's legs buckled for a second, then he found new speed, his gaze fixed straight ahead as he ran for his life. The 8 zombies continued their gruesome feast, and soon, the boy's cries faded into silence. The remaining students, a scattered handful, were all running, desperate to get away. The campus was a maelstrom of terror, students scattering like ants, hounded by the relentless undead. The main thoroughfare, usually quiet on a Sunday afternoon, was now choked with running students and shambling corpses. Every few seconds, I watched as someone stumbled, twitched, then fell, only to rise again, their eyes hollow, their movements jerky, joining the ranks of the infected. A thick, suffocating wave of panic blanketed everything. My stomach clenched as I watched the horrors unfold. Down on the streets, the zombies were drawn by the panicked students, a chaotic scramble of hunter and prey. A path that led directly to the student mart and, more importantly, the school exit, was currently choked by at least 20 zombies. They were a slow, shuffling blockade. 6 boys from another dorm building spotted the blockade, their faces paling. As if sensing their presence, 6 of the zombies turned, their vacant stares locking onto the group. The street wasn't wide, and those 6 were already enough to almost completely seal off the path, leaving only a tiny gap. And from behind the boys, 8 more zombies, still dripping with blood from their recent meal, shambled closer. They were trapped. Zombies ahead, zombies behind. In that desperate moment, 2 of the boys, faces etched with horror, screamed and charged the front line of zombies. Each wielded a novice cudgel, thrusting it forward. 2 of the undead crumpled to the asphalt. A third student, seeing the brief opening, lunged for the gap. He almost made it. A step too slow. A rotting hand shot out from the mass of undead, gripping his arm like a vice. "No! Help! Help!" he shrieked, struggling frantically. In a surge of panic, he swung his novice cudgel, a lucky strike severing the zombie's arm. It fell, still twitching, but 3 more lunged forward, swarming him. Gaping jaws clamped down on his neck. "Aark, help me!" he gurgled, his scream cut short. The 3 zombies held him fast, tearing into his flesh with sickening squelches. The 2 other zombies, drawn by the sudden gush of blood, turned their attention to the screaming boy, adding to the gruesome feast. The one who'd run past the initial blockade didn't get far. He was quickly swallowed by the trailing horde, his desperate moans fading under a pile of gnawing corpses. The 4 remaining students watched in frozen horror, their eyes wide with disbelief and terror. "We're dead," one of them whimpered, collapsing to the ground. "Climb the tree." Gavin Stone, the tallest of them and surprisingly calm, scanned their surroundings. His eyes landed on a massive oak. Without hesitation, he scrambled up its trunk. Crestview University's main campus was renowned for its old, towering trees and abundant greenery. The other 2, spurred by instinct, quickly followed, clawing their way up the bark. "Save me, Gavin Stone. Give me a hand," the paralyzed student shrieked, adrenaline finally cutting through his paralysis. He struggled to his feet, eyes wide with panic as he looked up at the others. He couldn't climb. The boy's desperate screams acted like a siren. Within 100 meters, dozens of zombies twitched, their heads snapping toward the noise. They began to shuffle, then shamble, converging on the street. A horde of even 10 zombies was enough to overwhelm any organized resistance on campus, let alone this growing swarm. The first student to clamber up the oak, Gavin Stone, heard the agonizing cry from below him and hesitated. In just those few seconds of Gavin's indecision, the infected's clawed hand snatched at the boy below. Its teeth followed, sinking deep into his neck. The boy, Kyle, screamed, a sound that quickly gurgled into a wet choke as 5 infected swarmed him, tearing at his flesh. His piercing cry echoed, chilling me even from my distance, embedding fear into the hearts of everyone who heard it. Witnessing such a brutal scene, Gavin Stone and the other 2 students, Liam and Chloe, didn't dare hesitate, scrambling further up the tree to escape. Their eyes, wide with raw terror, were fixated on the 3 shambling figures below them. Scores of infected now surrounded the base of the tree, forming a grotesque, fearsome army that effectively blocked any escape route to the outside world. I watched the situation outside, a frown creasing my brow. My only visible exit from the dorm was choked off. Escaping this place, it seemed, would be incredibly difficult. The infected only had one true weakness, the head. But with such overwhelming numbers, and knowing a single bite or scratch could mean a gruesome end, they were incredibly difficult to deal with. If they weren't so sluggish, without firearms, even elite forces would struggle against them. Just then, a violent crash erupted from my door. 2 more infected piled into the room, their shambling forms grotesquely distorted. Skullgrim, ever vigilant, was guarding the entrance. It brought its bone axe down with savage force, cleaving the first infected's head clean off. I watched Skullgrim, seeing a wisp of white light detach from the slain creature and drift into its skeletal form. One down, the remaining infected stumbled into the room, but its head was quickly, cleanly severed by Skullgrim's axe, foul black blood splattering across the floor. Another wisp of white light coiled into Skullgrim's frame. My brow furrowed. I realized something crucial. Summoned creatures, it seemed, only gained their own EXP from kills, not their masters. If I wanted to get stronger, I had to be the one dealing the killing blow. This realization shattered my initial plan. I had originally intended to use Skullgrim to deal with the infected, knowing it was immune to the contagion. My strategy of staying safe in the rear while Skullgrim farmed EXP for me was officially dead. If I didn't get my hands dirty, I'd never progress. What the future held for the world, I couldn't say. But it was abundantly clear that this new world would be brutally cruel. Without personal strength, mere survival would be a luxury. As if drawn by the sounds of the struggle, 3 more infected shambled in from the side of the door, pushing through the already widening gap. Skullgrim, the 2 on the left are yours, I commanded. Obeying instantly, Skullgrim stepped forward, its axe swinging in a deadly arc, cleaving another infected's head. Foul blood erupted everywhere. The remaining 2 infected, seemingly impervious to fear, continued their relentless crawl. One, stumbling over the growing pile of debris, collapsed to the ground. Skullgrim's axe descended mercilessly, hacking the fallen infected's head into oblivion. The last one, its face a pulpy mess of bites and holes, milky white eyes fixed on me, struggled to pull itself through the doorway, dragging itself closer. I swallowed my rising fear, took a determined step forward, and hefted my novice cudgel overhead, bringing it down with all my might onto the infected's head. The head twisted unnaturally to the side, and a wisp of white light flowed from the creature's corpse directly into me. Taking no chances, I gestured for Skullgrim, letting it finish the job with a final axe blow. I sucked in a ragged breath, the immediate threat cleared. But outside, the infected were still shambling, clawing at the window and door frame, trying to force their way in. So many of them. Watching the frenzied horde press against the entry points, I gasped. This time, there were well over a dozen, their milky eyes pressing against the gaps, radiating an oppressive, suffocating presence. Melee combat was a brutal drain on stamina, and even a minor scratch against these things could mean a death sentence. Facing a single infected was one thing. Facing over a dozen was an entirely different nightmare. Thankfully, the doorway was narrow, allowing only 3 infected through at a time. 3 were already jammed in the entrance, a grotesque pile of struggling bodies. Another was trying to pry its way through the window. Beyond those 4, the rest of the horde was a solid wall of bodies just outside. The sheer thought of having to face countless more made my limbs ache already. Skullgrim, the 3 at the door belong to you, I ordered, then sprinted towards the window, a determined glint in my eyes. My novice cudgel slammed down, twisting the head of the climbing infected sideways with a sickening crack. Skullgrim, having gained a level, moved with more fluid, brutal efficiency than before. It trampled the corpse of the first zombie, then with a single, practiced swing, neatly decapitated another. The remaining two infected squeezed past their fallen comrade, shoving their way through the narrow opening. Immediately after clearing the bottleneck, both stumbled over the growing debris and collapsed. I seized the opportunity, lunging forward to bring my cudgel down on one of the fallen, smashing its head crooked. Skullgrim, with a swift swing of its axe, severed the head of the other. I barely had time to catch my breath before 4 more infected were already pressing in through the door and window. Gritting my teeth, I pushed forward, targeting the one at the window whose eyes had been clawed out. My cudgel connected hard, smashing its head to the side. A familiar wisp of white light entered me. Skullgrim, a relentless guardian before the door, skillfully wielded its axe, splitting another infected's head in two, showering the area in foul blood. By now, the doorway was a gruesome pile of infected corpses and debris, but the relentless horde outside still aggressively pushed against it. 2 more were trapped within the opening, struggling futilely. I quickly moved to the left, my novice cudgel in my right hand, smashing both trapped infected until they fell still. Their bodies wedged further into the jam, foul blood pooling and the rancid stench of death choking the air. The entrance was now effectively barricaded by dead bodies, 3 jammed in the middle, 2 more on each side, forming a grisly wall. 2 more infected tried to force their heads through a gap. I quickly stomped on one, then used my novice cudgel to finish it. Skullgrim's axe took care of the other. Another infected was halfway through the window. I lunged forward and smashed its head before it could get any further. As the infected collapsed, a final wisp of white light flew into me. A familiar voice echoed in my mind. A system prompt chimed in my head. Congratulations. You have advanced to level 3. Please assign 2 stat points. Strength, stamina. Gasping for breath, I made my selection. The constant close-quarters combat had utterly drained my stamina. I still lacked the sheer strength to cleanly decapitate them, meaning I had to rely on repeated, energy-consuming blows. As the thoughts crossed my mind, a comforting warmth spread through my body, a tangible surge of new power. The last of the zombie horde crumpled to the floor, leaving behind a silence broken only by my ragged breathing and the distant moans from outside. The immediate pressure vanished, and I felt a faint surge of power from the level up I'd just gained. My muscles, previously screaming from the exertion, seemed to loosen slightly. Across the room, Skullgrim, my cadaveric sentinel, cleaved the head from the final shambler with a brutal swing of his bone axe. As its decaying body hit the ground, a faint, almost translucent light pulsed around Skullgrim. A moment later, where the light had been strongest, a piece of bone the size of my palm detached from the zombie's sternum and floated towards Skullgrim. It rotated, shimmering, then condensed into a skeletal chest plate, latching itself onto Skullgrim's ribcage with an audible click. Another level, I thought, watching the process. Its growth is ridiculously fast. Every time Skullgrim leveled, all 6 of its attributes increased significantly. I, on the other hand, could only allocate points to 2 attributes per level. Skullgrim was essentially progressing 3 times faster than me in terms of raw stat gains. After leveling up again, it was undeniably stronger, dispatching those last 2 zombies with an almost effortless grace. The assault on my dorm room had finally ceased. A wave of profound relief washed over me. All the zombies were gone. I let out a long, shaky breath, the stench of blood and decay burning in my nostrils. Enduring the awful smell, I pulled on a pair of rubber gloves I'd found earlier and began searching the cadavers for survival marks. Right now, these black coins didn't seem to have much immediate use, but I had an unshakable feeling they would become crucial further down the line. I gathered what I could, then immediately retreated to my spot by the window, slumping down to quietly try and restore my stamina. Can't stay here much longer, I muttered to myself, inspecting the carnage around me. The small dorm room was a charnel house, littered with more than a dozen headless, mangled corpses. Foul blood pooled on the floor, and the metallic tang of death hung thick in the air. This was no place for the living. After the fierce battle, my mouth was parched, my throat dry. I didn't dare drink the tap water in the dormitory. I had no idea if the contagion vector had seeped into the plumbing. If I stayed here, I'd eventually die, either of thirst, starvation, or by attracting another horde. I rested for 10 minutes, feeling my stamina slowly tick up from 4 points to 7 points. It took another 20 minutes for it to reach 8 points. It seemed the speed of my stamina recovery wasn't a fixed value. The lower it was, the harder it was to fully recover. I observed the process with a critical eye, quietly contemplating the mechanics of this new, hellish reality. Finally, I stood, peering out the window again. A fragile calm had settled over the campus. Students and staff were either infected, hiding, or dead. Zombies staggered aimlessly across the grounds. Most of the infected around the male dormitory had been drawn away by Gavin Stone's group, leaving a surprisingly large, empty area around my building. Only a few scattered, vacant-eyed zombies stood there, swaying gently. "Climb down," I ordered Skullgrim, pointing towards the open ground. Skullgrim's twin soul fires flickered in its eye sockets. It slipped its bone axe into a loop on its back, then agilely began to descend the climbing rope I'd anchored to the window frame. It landed with a soft thud that, in the sudden silence, sounded incredibly loud. For shambling zombies in the vicinity immediately turned, their heads cocking, and began to unsteadily lurch towards Skullgrim. Once Skullgrim was safely down, I shouldered my large camping backpack, adjusted the straps, and quickly followed, rappelling down the rope. As the 4 zombies staggered closer, Skullgrim advanced, swinging its axe in a wide, powerful arc. One zombie's head detached with a wet thwack, flying through the air before bouncing off a parked car. I rushed in behind another, bringing my novice cudgel down hard on its skull. The blow didn't sever the head, but it caved in the bone, sending the zombie spinning grotesquely to the side. In the open, one-on-one, a fight with a single zombie was manageable, provided you weren't afraid of the nascent contagion. Their slow, lumbering movement was their greatest weakness. The 2 remaining zombies barely managed to close the distance before Skullgrim, with another 2 swift, precise swings of its bone axe, decapitated them both. After leveling twice, Skullgrim was a force to be reckoned with. As long as it wasn't swarmed by dozens, it could easily take on multiple infected. "That way," I shouted, pointing towards the Student Mart, a small convenience store on campus. "Advance." Skullgrim received the command, its soul fires glowing brighter, and with its massive bone axe held ready, it surged forward. I tried my best to keep up, but the difference in our stats was already clear. With 12 points in agility, Skullgrim was considerably faster than me. After only a few moments, it had already pulled ahead. Our rapid movement generated noise, drawing the attention of more zombies. They began to shuffle and moan, turning towards us and shambling from the sides, adding to the growing throng behind us. Though their speed was negligible compared to mine and Skullgrim's, the sheer number, dozens of them now, created an immense, suffocating pressure. If I were surrounded, I wouldn't last long. For more zombies wandered near the Student Mart. Hearing our approach, they began to shamble towards us. Skullgrim charged, its axe ablur. A zombie went flying from a powerful blow. 2 more attempted to pounce on Skullgrim, their decaying claws scraping against its bone frame. Skullgrim brought its axe up and then down, cleanly beheading them one by one. By the time I reached the entrance to the Student Mart, Skullgrim had already cleared out every last zombie around it. "Amazing," I breathed, looking down at the fragmented bodies littering the ground in front of Skullgrim. I couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. Being undead, Skullgrim was immune to the nascent contagion. If I had been surrounded by those 4 zombies, there's no way I could have dispatched them so easily. My novice cudgel was sturdy, but it lacked the sharpness and sheer destructive power of Skullgrim's bone axe. My eyes narrowed, catching sight of something glinting amidst the gore. "What's that?" Among the zombie corpses lay a vibrant red apple, perfectly preserved in a small, sealed pouch, untouched by blood. I quickly snatched it up, along with 4 more survival marks, then rushed inside the Student Mart. A system prompt chimed in my head, showing me the item's properties: Apple of Vitality. After eating, in a non-combat state, able to restore 4 points of stamina within 5 minutes. Can sell for 15 survival marks. "Nice one," I murmured, tucking the apple into my pocket. Skullgrim had already gone to work inside, beheading 2 zombified former employees. I burst in, scanning the aisles, finding nothing immediately strange. My eyes locked onto the shelves laden with candy, chocolate, and high-calorie snacks. These were essential. I began sweeping everything I could into my mountaineering backpack: chocolate bars, bags of chips, biscuits. Then I added a few more packets of instant noodles and 3 large bottles of purified water. My backpack was now stuffed to bursting. "So heavy," I grunted, shifting the mountaineering backpack onto my shoulders. The weight was ridiculous, nearly all of it from the canned goods and water I'd crammed in from the Student Mart. No way I could move fast or fight effectively, carrying all this. With a sigh, I carefully took out about 2/3 of the supplies, setting them on the grimy floor. The student mart wasn't a place to make a stand. Its walls were mostly glass storefront, flimsy and useless against an infected horde. Only massive, fortified stores might offer real sanctuary. My priority was escaping Crestview University, and for that, I needed unhindered speed and strength. Hauling too much gear would just bleed my stamina dry. Earlier, when I'd leveled up, I'd specifically allocated points to strength and stamina, precisely for moments like this, to be able to move and fight, to get to a safe place. I grabbed a large water bottle, chugged a few mouthfuls, then tossed it aside. No time to waste. I pushed through the battered doors and stepped out. Skullgrim was already positioned, guarding the entrance, its bone axe resting easily on its shoulder. My eyes immediately snagged on the sight before me. 20 infected, a shambling wall of aggressive undead, converging on the area. The sheer number of them, all clustered together, created an oppressive feeling. There was no way to simply push through. My brow furrowed. 20 in such a tight formation would be a death trap. "Help! Save us!" A desperate shout tore through the air. My head snapped up. It was Gavin Stone, perched high in the oak tree with the other 2 survivors. His cry had the intended, and perhaps unintended, effect. The horde split. 10 of the infected, drawn by the sound, turned and began to shuffle toward the base of the tree. "Gavin, are you insane?" A voice, sharp with fear, hissed from the tree. I recognized the other student, Caleb, from my class. "Are you trying to lead more monsters over here?" Gavin shot back, his voice strained. "I'm not insane, Caleb. There are so many zombies below. How long do you think we can last up here if no one comes for us? Can you escape an encirclement of that many infected?" Caleb fell silent. The infected were slow, yes, but their numbers were overwhelming. Crestview University was dotted with these dangerous undead, making any escape seemingly impossible. What was worse, everyone knew by now. A single scratch, a broken skin barrier from one of them, and it was a nascent contagion. Without specialized treatment fluids, it was a death sentence. With 10 of the infected diverted, the pressure on me instantly eased. Skullgrim moved first, a long stride covering the distance to the nearest infected. Its bone axe whistled through the air, cleanly severing the head of the lead zombie. It flew in an arc, landing with a sickening thud. I sprinted right behind Skullgrim, barking an order. "Cut off their left arm, Skullgrim." I knew the drill. If Skullgrim delivered the killing blow, I gained no experience, no strength. Only my direct kills yielded EXP. Skullgrim, ever obedient, adjusted its attack. It took another step, its axe swinging low and wide, severing the left arm of an approaching infected. The arm fell away, twitching. I moved in, my novice cudgel a blur, and brought it down hard on the exposed head of the now crippled infected. Bone cracked, and the zombie collapsed. Amazing. Gavin's voice drifted down from the tree, a hint of awe in his tone as he watched our coordinated assault. "Back!" I yelled, having taken down a second infected after Skullgrim disarmed it. The remaining 8 infected were slowly closing ranks. Getting surrounded out here was a death sentence. At my command, Skullgrim and I rapidly disengaged, breaking away from the encroaching circle of infected. The 8 zombies continued to shamble after us, their movements a mix of slow, uneven gaits and sudden, lurching bursts of speed. One of them lunged forward, faster than the rest. "Go!" "Its left arm!" I yelled, pointing. Skullgrim reacted instantly, stepping in front of me, its axe flashing. The zombie's left arm was gone in a gruesome arc. I wasted no time, rushing in, my novice cudgel smashing its head aside. Kill confirmed, we retreated again, widening the gap between us and the small group of undead. This became our rhythm. Skullgrim disarmed, I finished. Retreat. Repeat. One by one, the remaining infected fell. "You have advanced to level 4. Please assign the 2 stat points." The familiar system prompt chimed in my head as the last zombie crumbled to the ground. Assigned to strength and stamina. I gasped, heavily panting. 10 zombies, even with Skullgrim's help, had drained a significant chunk of my stamina. I was down to only 3 points of it. A rush of warmth flooded my body, my muscles tingling with newfound power. I could feel the strength returning, flowing through my limbs. I was stronger, faster. Beside me, Skullgrim also surged with energy, its bony frame crackling with faint green light. It had leveled up to level 4 as well. It felt noticeably more formidable, easily 30% stronger than an average human. My fight with the 10 zombies had caused a commotion. 3 more infected, scattered nearby, began to stagger towards us. I glanced at them, then back at Skullgrim. Kill them, then return to guard position. I ordered. I was exhausted, every muscle screaming for a moment's rest, a chance to recover my stamina. Skullgrim, without a word, advanced. Its axe cleaved through the first two infected with brutal efficiency. "Hey, what's that?" I muttered, my eyes fixated. As Skullgrim dispatched the last of the three, a small, white box, about 30 centimeters long, popped out from the crumbling remains of the zombie. It lay there, pristine and out of place, on the blood-splattered ground. I immediately walked over and picked it up. White treasure box. A system message appeared directly in my mind. Inside this treasure box, there may be treasure you can use, but there may be nothing. Gamble on your luck. Without a moment's hesitation, I twisted the box open. A flash of white light erupted, and a garment appeared in my hands. It was a sleek, white, form-fitting piece of clothing. Novice Protective Garment. Able to block 3 instances of nascent contagion from creatures level 5 and under. Cannot resist nascent contagion from creatures above level 5. Bonus: Power +1, Agility +1, Vitality +1, Stamina +1, Spirit +1, Strength +1. Can be worn with other protective garments, but bonus effects do not stack. Durability 3/3. Selling to the system store will net you 50 essence coins. Nice, I exclaimed, a genuine grin splitting my face. I quickly pulled on the protective garment. It fit perfectly, almost as if tailor-made. This was huge. A single piece of gear that offered the equivalent of a 10% improvement over a normal person's baseline stats was incredible. More importantly, it could fend off 3 zombie attacks. That was 3 lives, essentially. Before, even a single mistake in a one-on-one fight meant infection and death. With this, I had a buffer. I just needed to avoid getting completely swarmed. 3 extra lives. The thought was intoxicating. I glanced over at the oak tree, where Gavin, Caleb, and the third student watched, wide-eyed. I gave them a thumbs up, then retreated back into the student mart to rest. "Gavin, what does he mean?" Caleb's voice, still thin with wonder, carried through the air. "Why did he go back into the supermarket?" Gavin speculated. Maybe he used up too much stamina. He was right. Combat was draining. You couldn't sustain it indefinitely. Inside the student mart, I remained alert, my senses sharp. Even as I sank to the floor, leaning against a display shelf to recover my stamina, my eyes scanned the surroundings, listening for any telltale groans or shuffles of the infected. Rest was crucial, but relaxation was a luxury I couldn't afford. The infected around the student mart were all gone now, leaving only the 16 still shuffling aimlessly around the base of the towering oak tree. With the novice protective garment equipped, my stamina had climbed to 13 points. I'd rested for 5 minutes, watching my stamina recover from 4 to 7 points. I continued to rest for another 20 minutes, but it didn't budge a single point. My body feels so heavy, so worn down. I've been fighting for hours. My stamina is still far too low to be safe. I frowned, the thought a bitter pill. Today had been nothing but high-intensity combat. Even with my increased stats, my natural recovery was painfully slow. There's only one way to get back in the fight quickly. I pulled out the apple of vitality and sank my teeth into its crisp flesh. A wave of sweet, delicious juice flooded my mouth, almost instantly warming my body from the inside out. Just a few bites, and the apple of vitality was gone. A cool, invigorating stream flowed through my veins, unraveling the knots of exhaustion in my muscles. 5 minutes later, that cool trickle of nourishment had completely revitalized me. My stamina surged, settling at 12 points. With my stamina mostly restored, I emerged from the student mart, Skullgrim clanking faithfully at my side. "He's out," Caleb shouted, his voice hoarse with relief, nudging Gavin's stone. Gavin's eyes locked onto me, a mix of relief and anxiety playing across his face. He knew as well as I did. If I chose to leave them to their fate, they were as good as dead. I glanced at the 16 infected still shambling around the base of their tree. Reaching into my backpack, I pulled out a can of beer, gave it a casual toss, and let it clang against the ground a good distance away. The sudden, sharp noise cut through the groans of the horde. All 16 infected under the tree jerked their heads towards the sound, then began to shamble, almost in unison, towards the beer can. "Let's go, Skullgrim." I gripped my novice cudgel, taking a position right beside Skullgrim. At my command, Skullgrim charged, his bone axe held ready, a whirlwind of bone and deadly intent. 10 seconds later, Skullgrim met the first infected. His bone axe whistled through the air, cleaving a head clean off its shoulders with a sickening crack. The first fell. Immediately, 3 more infected converged on Skullgrim from the side. I moved in, my novice cudgel a blur as it smashed into an infected skull, twisting its head at an unnatural angle. I followed up with a quick kick to another's midsection, sending it sprawling to the ground. The novice protective garment had made me bolder. Without it, I'd never have dared to kick an infected. The slightest scratch, the smallest break in the skin, and I'd be looking at a rapid transformation, a death sentence from the nascent contagion. Skullgrim, meanwhile, was a brutal dance of death, his axe swinging with effortless power, sending heads and limbs flying. Since reaching level 4, Skullgrim's overall strength had improved by at least 30%. His combat prowess was visibly enhanced, but what truly stood out was his newfound speed and reaction time. I took a long stride, my cudgel striking another infected, the bone-jarring impact snapping its neck sideways. In mere breaths, for infected lay mangled on the ground, cut down by Skullgrim and me. After dispatching the 4, Skullgrim and I pulled back slightly. The remaining 12 infected surged forward. Skullgrim met them with a blur of his axe, taking down 2. My cudgel shattered the skull of a 3rd. Then, we pulled back again, letting them churn in confusion for a moment. A few more coordinated assaults, and the slow, lumbering waves of infected were dispatched. Skullgrim and I worked in perfect, brutal sync. Unbelievable. I never thought someone this strong was hiding on campus. Gavin Stone, watching Skullgrim and me effortlessly carve through the infected, let out a slow, disbelieving sigh from his perch in the tree. Caleb and the 3rd boy, who I now recognized as someone from my biology class, nodded in awe. After clearing that last wave, my stamina had dropped by 3 points, settling at 9. Even so, the upgrades to my strength and stamina were undeniable. My battle endurance had definitely improved. I quickly moved among the fresh corpses, collecting the essence coins scattered across the ground. Each black coin a chilling reminder of the lives lost and the power gained. Seeing that the immediate area was clear of infected, the 3 boys scrambled down the tree with surprising agility. Gavin was the first to approach, extending a cautious hand. "Hey, Marcus, right? I'm Gavin Stone, a 3rd-year student." "I'm Caleb, also a 3rd year." "And I'm Leo, same year." Caleb and Leo followed, quickly introducing themselves. I nodded. "Marcus Cole, and thanks, Gavin, for earlier." He'd drawn away a good chunk of the infected earlier, giving me the space I needed to thin the first wave. Without that, I would have been forced to retreat, leaving the student mart, and them, to the horde. It wasn't their individual strength that was so terrifying, but their numbers and the nascent contagion. Even 20 infected were a drain on stamina and focus, a constant threat of a single, fatal mistake. "Modest? No, I should be thanking you for saving us." Gavin laughed, a genuine sound of relief. He then pointed at Skullgrim, his expression turning curious. "Marcus, where did you get that?" Caleb and Leo looked at Skullgrim with undisguised envy. They'd just seen him in action, cleaving through infected with brutal efficiency, a single swing felling a zombie. "Let's talk inside. This isn't exactly the safest place for a chat." I swept my gaze across the campus, then gestured towards the student mart. Skullgrim and I had cleared the immediate vicinity, but I knew Crestview University was home to thousands of infected now. We weren't safe, not by a long shot. Gavin, Caleb, and Leo nodded in understanding, quickly following me back inside the student mart. Once inside, Caleb grabbed a beer from a shelf, twisted off the cap, and chugged half of it in one go. He let out a long, loud sigh of relief. "Phew, finally safe. I'm so thirsty." I shot Caleb a look, a slight frown touching my brow. Safe was a relative term, and careless noise was an invitation for trouble. We were only safe enough for necessary communication. Gavin, after taking a more measured sip from a water bottle, came closer. He pointed at Skullgrim. "So, Marcus, seriously, how did you get this guy? Can you tell us?" Caleb and Leo were watching me, too, their eyes wide with a desperate, hungry desire. In this new, zombie-ridden world, strength was the only currency that mattered, the only guarantee of survival. I met Gavin's gaze. "Did you hear that voice? The one claiming to be God?" "I heard it." Gavin nodded, his expression serious. "Me too," Caleb chimed in. "Same here," Leo added. I leaned against a shelf, choosing my words carefully. After I killed an infected, a skill book dropped from its corpse. Using that book? Well, that's how I summoned Skullgrim. My first cadaveric sentinel. It wasn't something to hide. Not now. If we wanted to escape this hell, more power, more knowledge, was always better. My words had hardly faded when Caleb eagerly asked, "You killed so many infected. Do you have any extra skill books? Give us a copy. We can also help you kill infected. Nope, I stated flatly, glancing at Caleb. Not dwelling on the subject, I looked at the three of them and continued. Using the novice cudgel to kill enough infected can help you get physical enhancement. I glanced at their hands, then asked, "Where are your novice cudgels?" "Threw it away when we were escaping," Gavin Stone said, a bit ashamed. Caleb and Leo were also ashamed. A novice cudgel, a meter long and several kilograms, felt like dead weight when you were running for your life, so they hadn't bothered to bring them. Hearing that using the novice cudgel and killing infected could make them stronger, Gavin Stone, Caleb, and Leo were clearly full of regret for discarding their weapons. "Can any of you three drive?" I asked. The road exiting Crestview University had more than 30 infected wandering. Skull Grim and I could slowly clear them, but the stamina drain would be immense. Only by taking a school bus could we smash through that blockade. Gavin Stone and Caleb shook their heads, while Leo suddenly spoke up. "I know how to drive." Staring at Leo, I continued to ask, "Can you drive a school bus?" Leo looked at me and said, "I've only driven a car, haven't driven a school bus yet, but I think their principles should be the same." I thought for a moment, then said, "It seems like that's the only choice. We have to go get a school bus." Caleb opened his mouth and protested, "That is too dangerous. Outside is full of infected. Why don't we hide in here? As you can see, there's water and food. The surrounding infected have been dealt with. As long as we hide here, we absolutely don't have to worry about water and food. Infected are only undead. If confronted by a modern army, they are absolutely no match. We can just wait here for the army to rescue us. Isn't that better?" I had leveled up 3 times, but I wasn't strong enough to fearlessly face any number of infected. If I was confronted by dozens, I'd still need to be cautious, maybe even retreat. There were over 1,000 infected swarming the campus. The slightest mistake would mean death. Caleb didn't want to take big risks, and I understood why. Gavin Stone and Leo also quieted down. People were naturally fearful. Given a choice, who wouldn't pick a safe place to hide over taking massive risks? The student mart, stocked with water and food, and with the immediate infected cleared by Skull Grim and me, was an ideal shelter in their eyes. "All right, you guys stay here. I'm going out." I eyed the three, shouldered my mountaineering backpack, and marched outside. Even though I'd saved them, I didn't have the authority to tell them what to do. If they weren't willing to act with me, I wouldn't force them. As Skull Grim and I stepped out of the student mart, I could practically feel the surge of fear strike the hearts of the three behind me. Without a strong defender, in this new world, their future would indeed feel bleak. If only I'd learned to drive better, I mused. Outside the student mart, I looked towards the school bus parking lot, a slight, grim smile on my face. My family had been poor. We certainly didn't have extra money for driving lessons. It seems I can only rely on myself. Hopefully the key is inside. I took a deep breath, immediately heading toward the top of a ramp. The school bus was parked right there. Crestview University's school buses were sturdy. They could easily smash through infected without getting bogged down, unlike regular cars. On top of that ramp, 8 infected were staggering around. Hearing Skull Grim and my footsteps, they immediately turned and lurched towards us. Skull Grim led the charge, his bone axe ablur as it bisected an infected. I was right behind him, my novice cudgel striking with renewed force. I smashed an infected's head, sending it flopping grotesquely to the side. My strength had increased by 4 points, over 40% since this nightmare began, making kills far easier now. 1 person, 1 skeleton, we moved like a focused storm. We killed all 8 infected swiftly. I felt a drain, having used up 1 stamina point. A system prompt chimed in my head. "You have advanced to level 5. Please assign 2 stat points. Distribute 2 points to stamina immediately." I decided quickly. Without sufficient stamina, I couldn't fight for long. Stamina was crucial for both offense and defense, for fighting and fleeing. If I wasn't strong enough, I'd burn out after just a few skirmishes. A warm current surged through my body. My consumed stamina was restored, and my maximum increased. The school bus was parked near the basketball court. On the court itself, dozens of men had already turned, now just shambling infected. While Skull Grim and I fought the 8 on the ramp, the sounds of battle had drawn the attention of those on the court. They were staggering towards us now. I glanced at the converging infected, then at the school bus. Seeing no one inside, I immediately rushed towards it. Damn it, no car keys. I scrambled into the driver's seat, only to find no keys in the ignition. After a frantic moment of rummaging, I quickly jumped out of the bus. By now, Dozens of infected had converged on the bus. Beyond the basketball courts, from the nearby student housing area, another 10 or so infected were also drawn by the commotion, staggering towards me. Break through it. I glanced at the thickening horde. A desire to retreat flared. So many infected. Even if I burned through all my stamina, it would be impossible to kill them all. Just then, a flash of movement. A girl with smooth, long black hair, wearing jeans and wielding a novice cudgel, rushed over from the side. She moved like a whirlwind, her movements precise, almost like exquisite swordsmanship, even with the crude cudgel. The staff in her hands struck like a snake, hitting an infected's head with brutal efficiency, sending it lurching sideways. The infected that came at her scattered like dried grass before a gale. Not a single one managed to touch her. "Follow me quickly," the girl rushed to my side and yelled. Serafina Vance. Could it be her? I stared at the girl, an idea sparking in my mind, and followed her as she rushed away. Serafina Vance, Skullgrim, and I fought our way, running toward a pavilion on the lake. The pavilion offered a strategic advantage. A narrow pathway, barely wide enough for one person, stretched over the water to its entrance, making it an easily defensible choke point against the infected. As we reached the pavilion, Skullgrim positioned himself on the narrow path. The infected, drawn by our passage, stumbled onto him one by one, only to be met by a swift, decisive chop from his bone axe, sending heads flying. Alone on that constricted path, the infected were no match for Skullgrim's relentless assault. Serafina turned her gaze to me, her voice unexpectedly soft amidst the chaos. "Hello there. I'm Serafina Vance, classmate. May I ask your name?" I met her gaze, a wry chuckle escaping me. "Marcus Cole. I think it'd be rare to find anyone at Crestview University who doesn't know you, Serafina." Before me stood Serafina Vance, the undisputed most beautiful girl at Crestview University. Her glossy black hair fell to her shoulders, framing an exquisitely pretty face. Tall and striking, with eyes that seemed to hold both deep shadow and brilliant light, and skin as luminous as pale jade. I remembered her. Over a year ago, at the Winter Gala, Serafina had performed an incredible sword dance that had entranced almost everyone at Crestview University. She became the dream girl for countless students, and I'd even heard rumors of wealthy individuals from outside the university driving expensive cars just to catch a glimpse of her. While I never really paid much attention to campus socialites, that sword dance had been unforgettable, and so had she. I wouldn't have imagined that the stunning Serafina Vance would possess such courage to fight the infected, let alone wield such power. Serafina glanced at Skullgrim, then back at me. Her question was direct. "Is that an ability you have?" I nodded. "Yes." Her wide eyes fixed on me. "I need your help. Please, come with me to the women's dormitory. My friend is trapped there. Can you help me save her?" The women's dormitory would be swarming with infected. Even as powerful as Serafina seemed, she couldn't possibly clear them all alone. I nodded. "No problem. But, Serafina, I also have a friend I need to find. Once things are a bit more stable, I hope you'll help me save him." I didn't know what kind of abilities Serafina had gained, but her superb skill with a blade alone made her an invaluable ally in this new, dangerous world. "Yes." Serafina nodded in agreement. About 10 minutes later, Serafina asked, "Did you get enough rest? If you're ready, follow me." I stood up. "Good. Let's go." My stamina had recovered, hitting its maximum of 10 points. I was ready for a prolonged fight. Serafina, clutching her novice cudgel, moved swiftly out of the pavilion. The narrow pathway was littered with headless infected. More than 10 of them, drawn by our presence, had been dispatched by Skullgrim. Skullgrim had already reached level 6, outpacing my own progression. His stats had increased yet again. Serafina looked at Skullgrim, then smiled at me. "This ability of yours is truly useful." Skullgrim, as an undead, possessed a superior fighting ability, his stamina seemingly endless compared to Serafina and me. "Great," I smiled, moving among the fallen infected. It was time to collect the essence coins and check for any items. "This is a skill book." My eyes lit up. Lying quietly beside a pile of gruesome remains was a book. I immediately stepped forward and picked it up. A system notification appeared before me. Level 1 skill book, Small Fireball. Allows the user to release a small fireball to attack an enemy. This skill is associated with a mage's demon profession. Before upgrading to level 2, this skill can only be cast once every 3 days. Sell for 100 essence coins. This skill isn't really suited for me, I thought, turning the book over in my hands. Serafina walked over, peering at the book. "What is that skill book?" I held up the book. Level 1 skill book, small fireball. Want it? Serafina looked at the skill book in my hand, then shook her head. No need. Let's go. I tucked the skill book into my backpack, quickly organizing my items, and then followed Serafina out. Serafina, Skullgrim, and I hadn't been away from the pavilion for long when more infected, wandering nearby, immediately shambled towards us. Charge! Serafina shouted, launching herself towards the infected like a human whirlwind. We had to break through this group of 12 infected if we wanted to reach the women's dormitory. Serafina's speed was incredible. With a long stride, she pulled ahead of me, her agility clearly quite high. Skullgrim, forward, I commanded. Upon receiving my command, a fiery spark flickered in Skullgrim's empty eye sockets. He surged forward, a skeletal war god, rushing past Serafina and into the mass of infected. His axe became a blur, a whirlwind of bone and steel, severing an infected head that spun high into the air, splattering foul blood. This skeleton is amazing, Serafina exclaimed, a flicker of surprise in her eyes as Skullgrim tore through the group. She immediately followed, staying close to his side, her novice cudgel striking like a viper, smashing into the head of an infected in front of her. I arrived moments later, my own novice cudgel swinging, caving in the side of an infected skull. Working as a unit, we quickly eliminated 8 of the 12 infected blocking our path and surged past them. Hurry, Serafina shouted, glancing back at the 8 fallen infected before dashing forward again. More infected were already closing in. If we got surrounded, it would be over. An apple of vitality? Great. I was about to rush forward when I spotted a vibrant, glowing apple next to a fresh corpse. I quickly bent down, snatched it up, and immediately rejoined Serafina and Skullgrim. We broke through that wave, dispatching another 6 wandering infected, and then rushed straight for the women's dormitory. In front of the women's dormitory, 10 infected standing guard quickly turned, shambling towards us. What a pity, I thought, my gaze falling on the 10 female infected. Their once young, vibrant faces were now torn and ragged, utterly wretched. These girls should have been enjoying their lives as university students, but now they were just mindless, flesh-eating monsters. Skullgrim, devoid of human emotion, had no such thoughts. He strode forward, his axe swinging, cleanly severing a female infected's head and sending it tumbling. Serafina, a whirlwind of motion, plunged into the group of infected, her novice cudgel striking like a snake, knocking one's head at a grotesque angle. I joined the fray, my own cudgel moving with practiced efficiency, neatly dispatching another infected. The 3 of us, Serafina Vance, Skullgrim, and I, worked in perfect, brutal sync. The remaining infected guarding the entrance to the women's dormitory were swiftly dispatched, their shambling forms collapsing under Skullgrim's bone axe and Serafina's precise strikes, with my own novice cudgel adding to the chaos. Once the immediate threat was gone, I sprinted into the security room of the women's dormitory. It was dimly lit, reeking of stale air and something vaguely metallic. On a hook by a grimy bulletin board, a ring of keys gleamed. I snatched them, along with a heavy-duty padlock from a shelf, and then raced back out to the main gate. The heavy aluminum gate of the women's dormitory clanged shut, and I quickly secured it with the padlock. Just in time, too. The initial commotion we'd caused had drawn more of the infected. Now, a growing tide of them, perhaps 100 or more, shambled unsteadily towards our position. They were already massing outside the gate, their moans a low, guttural chorus that sent shivers down my spine. Compared to the flimsy, tattered wooden doors of the men's dormitories, the women's dormitory at Crestview University was a fortress. Years ago, a series of burglaries had prompted the university to upgrade, replacing all the old wooden doors with sturdy aluminum. It was a blessing now. Inside, the sound of the approaching horde stirred the infected that already lurked within. From various rooms, zombies staggered out, their blank eyes fixed on the noise. Many had been caught unawares, resting during the afternoon when the world ended, so a good number of room doors remained closed. Still, more than 20 infected had already found their way into the hallways, adding to the immediate danger. 100 infected outside, another 20 plus inside. The situation was dire. If we were completely surrounded, if they managed to breach our defenses, we'd be overwhelmed in moments. "Follow me," Serafina said, her voice tight but firm as she assessed the rising tide of infected outside. She didn't hesitate, spinning and rushing up the nearest stairwell. Skullgrim and I followed close behind her, our boots echoing on the concrete steps. A few wandering infected blocked our path on the stairs. We surged forward as one, a blur of motion. Seraphina's novice cudgel flashed, Skullgrim's axe cleaved, and my own staff crunched against bone. In the blink of an eye, the stairwell was clear. Seraphina was just reaching the third-floor landing when 4 infected suddenly lurched into view from around the corner. They moved with a disturbing speed, a frantic, wild rush straight for her, completely blocking the stairway. She couldn't avoid them. Her novice cudgel snaked out, a precise, powerful strike to the head of the lead infected, sending it sprawling to the side. But the remaining 3 were undeterred, lunging at her with sickening speed. She was boxed in, unable to dodge. As the 3 infected swarmed Seraphina, Skullgrim sprang into action. His massive bone axe swung in a devastating arc, a cyclone of sharp bone. It connected with one of the infected's heads, crushing it like a ripe melon, splattering gore across the wall. At the same time, I took a long stride forward, bringing my novice cudgel down hard. It slammed into the head of another infected, not quite crushing it, but twisting its body violently. The force of the blow sent the zombie spinning into Seraphina, knocking her off balance and sending her sprawling to the ground. The last infected, a gaunt female, was now upon me. Its rotting claws raked my left arm, ripping my sleeve. I felt a sickening thud against my flesh as its weight slammed into me, nearly shattering my arm. The stench of decay was overpowering, making my stomach churn. Up close, its tattered face, marred by countless bites, was a horrifying sight. The thought of turning into one of these mindless monsters made my blood run cold. I didn't hesitate. Summoning all my strength, boosted by my recent level-ups, I brutally kicked the female infected in the abdomen. The force sent it flying backward a full 2 meters, crashing against the opposite wall. Skullgrim, ever the guardian, stepped in, his axe chopping down, splitting its head in 2. A moment later, a faint system chime registered in my mind, followed by a soft shimmer. A white treasure box had materialized next to the fallen infected's body. Seraphina quickly scrambled to her feet, her face pale. She rushed over to me, her eyes wide with worry as she stared at my injured arm. "Marcus, are you all right?" she asked, her voice strained. The most terrifying thing about these creatures wasn't their strength, but the nascent contagion they carried. Just a scratch was enough to turn you. "It's all right," I said, a little shaky. "I'm wearing a novice protective garment." It absorbed the blow, kept the infection out. This was the most dangerous moment I'd experienced so far. If I hadn't been wearing this garment, I'd be infected by now. Seraphina looked at me, her eyes earnest, and thanked me solemnly. "Thank you for saving my life, Marcus. I will find a way to repay this kindness." "Go look for your friend," I urged, glancing around. More infected were already staggering out of rooms on the 3rd floor, drawn by the sounds of combat. "We don't have time." I quickly scooped up the white treasure box and shoved it into my backpack. Seraphina didn't waste another second. With a surge of speed, she darted down the hallway, her novice cudgel flashing as she took down 2 more infected with explosive strikes. She stopped at room 304, pounding on the door. "Alara, it's Seraphina Vance. I'm here to save you. Open the door." "Seraphina? You came." A joyful cry erupted from within the room, followed by the muffled sounds of furniture being dragged aside. "Quickly, move this stuff." Meanwhile, the numbers of infected on the 3rd floor continued to grow. They were pouring out of rooms, their moans echoing through the hallway. "I'm going to handle them for a bit. Hold this area," I said to Seraphina, my eyes grim as I watched the horde swell. If we let them gather too much, we'd never clear a path. Seraphina's eyes flashed. She stepped towards me, a determined smile on her face. "I'll go with you." "Okay," I nodded. Together, Skullgrim and I strode forward, rushing into the mass of infected. Seraphina followed close behind. The 3 of us became a whirlwind of motion, a concentrated point of death in the growing sea of undead, cutting down every infected that made it to the 3rd floor. "Amazing," a round-faced girl named Olivia, peeking out from another room, murmured in awe, her eyes wide with admiration as she watched Seraphina, Skullgrim, and me systematically clear the hallway. Even with our combined strength, fighting over 100 infected on the 3rd floor took its toll. My stamina was draining steadily, my body growing heavy. I, having strengthened myself a few times, was barely enduring it. But Seraphina was already dripping with sweat, breathing heavily, her movements losing their previous speed and power. Several times, she came dangerously close to being overwhelmed. "Seraphina, over here." At that critical moment, the door to room 304 finally creaked open. Alara Chun, her head poking out, shouted loudly towards Seraphina. We didn't need to be told twice. The 3 of us rushed into the room, slamming the door shut behind us. Immediately, the four girls inside, Alara and three others, heaved a computer desk, a small table, and a cabinet against the door, barricading it as best they could. Inside, Serafina collapsed onto a bed, panting heavily, sweat pouring down her face like rain. The fighting had been too fierce, draining her completely. If I hadn't been there to help, she absolutely couldn't have made it through the women's dormitory.